Welcome to Unigrads Education Hub and Consultancy. In today's video, we are going to solve a mathematical problem that involves binomial expansion. So in this problem, we are being asked to find the coefficient of x to the power 25 in the expansion of x cubed minus 1 over x to the power 15. There are numerous ways how one can find an x to the power 25. One of the simplest method is to exhaust all the powers, all the expansion up until you find your term, and then you find the coefficient. But we want to do a little bit of modification by taking note of our function that we are expanding. You would note that we can apply what we call the laws of indices, where a power that is raised to another power is supposed to multiply. Again, we can also apply another law of indices, where whenever we have two terms that are dividing but they have the same base, the powers do subtract. So keeping those two laws in mind, you can note the following: that before we introduce the binomial expansion, we're going to note that in our expansion of this term, x to the power cube will be multiplied by 15, and because we are using binomial expansion, this power is going to be decreasing by 1, while the power of 1 to the power x will be increasing by 1. With that in mind, our expectation is, if we start with x cubed to the power 15, we expect that minus 1 over x will be to the power 0. And because of that, if I may write the powers only in the first line, we expect that the very first powers of x cubed are going to be in the following order. So we're going to have the very first one, which is 3 to the power 15. The second one will be 3 to the power 14. The third one will be 3 to the power 30 times 13, 3 to 12, and 3, 11, 3, 10 times 10. And this continues. In a similar fashion, minus 1 over x, in this case, will be to the power 0, to the power 1, to the power 2, to the power 3, to the power 4, and to the power 5. And it continues as well. Now, bringing in the binomial expansion, in this case, we are expecting to have a 15 combining with 0. In this case, we expect to have now 15 combining with 1, 15 combining with 2, 15 combining with 3, 15 combining with 4, and 15 combining with 5. But remember, we have now applied the first law, which I said the powers raised to another power are multiplying. Let's apply the second law. The same base dividing, we're supposed to subtract the powers. Our expectation is, in this term, we're going to have this as a coefficient, but the power, it will be x to the power 3 to the power 15, which is 45, multiplied by minus 1 over x to the power 0, plus x to the power 3 times 14, which is 42, multiplied by minus 1 over x to the power 1. So this continues up until we are here. We're going to have x to the power 3 times 10, 30, minus 1 over x to the power 5. If we simplify each of these, it's easy to note that this is going to be x to the power 45 over x to the power 0 minus x to the power 0, because minus 1 to the power 0 just be 1. This to the power 0, of course, is going to be equal to 1 again. And this will be x to the power 42 minus x to the power 1. And this sequence also continues up to x to the power 30 over minus 1 to the power 5, just minus 1, and I'm going to have minus x to the power 5. Remember, our task is to find the coefficient, and by binomial expansion, these will be our coefficients, and each term is under each coefficient. So when we want to find the coefficient, we're going just to find its coefficient, but our role here is to find the term x to the power 25. Now, the laws of indices says, when the base is the same, the powers are different. This is the same as just having x to the power 45 minus 0. So you can take note of the sequence of the powers in the numerator and the sequence for the powers in the denominator. And if you are to subtract, which two numbers when you subtract are going to give you 25, you would say you're going to have 42 minus 0, 45 minus 0, which is a 45, 42 minus 1, 41, the other term will be a 39 minus 2, 37, but here, you can note that we have x to the power 30 and x to the power 5, and 30 minus 5 is a 25. The second thing to note is that this is a negative, and a negative number to the power an odd number, it's going to be a negative. So we have found our term to be this term. But which one is the coefficient for this x to the power 25? It's 5 combining 5. So we expect that the coefficient of x to the power 25 will be 15 combining 5. But we are saying this is a minus x to the power 5. So expectation is this will be a negative. So whatever the number we're going to get in this one, it will be a negative. And this is going to be x to the power 30 minus x, here we had x to the power 5, so it would be minus 5. And if you do your computation here, 15 combination 5 is going to give you 3, 0, 0, 3, and don't forget this negative, x to the power 25. As such, in the expansion of x cubed minus 1 over x to the power 15, the coefficient of x to the power 25 is minus 3003. Thank you.